Welcome to the Curly Hair Q&A show. I am your host, Ken Nickels, and most weeks I'm here with my co-host, Melanie Nickels. She is the founder of the Raw Hair Organic Salon in beautiful Naples, Florida. It's one of the top curly hair salons in the country, and Melanie is one of the top curl experts anywhere in the world. She is also the founder of the Raw Curls brand of natural and organic curly hair products. And if you're watching on live stream, you'll see that she is not here tonight. The guest chair is empty, but I do have a special guest with me tonight. So if you've been following along, this is show number 142, and next week will be Curl Crap giveaway show number 17, so make sure you're here. We're going to do a number of things. We're going to do a good mix of Curl Crap and some acne kits as well. It's going to be a good one. Probably going to give away about $400 worth of stuff next week. So hang out next week for Curl Crap giveaway number 17. We are a 2019 award-winning podcast, the number 2 hair industry podcast that you must subscribe to in 2019. So when this is over, go and subscribe, please. And this week we got over 17,000 downloads, which is pretty amazing. I can't believe people actually tolerate listening to us that much, but they do. And there are several places that you can watch us live streaming, which I know a lot of you are tonight and do every single week. And we're very thankful for that. It's amazing the thousands and thousands of people that do at watch us on live stream. And depending if you're listening to us, you can also watch us live. And I'll give you a list of those on the YouTube channel, Curly Hair Q&A, Instagram at Raw Curls. Hey, Instagram, they're on their own feed tonight. Facebook, Curly Girl Support Group, Diva Curl User Support Group, the Curly Hair Q&A group, the Raw Curls User Support Group, the Curly Girl Method Product Swap Group. Also on Twitter at Curly Hair Q&A, spell it all out. On Periscope, Curly Hair Q&A, spell it all out as well. And on Facebook on the Curly Hair Q&A show page. Those are where you can see us live stream. And for your best user experience, that YouTube channel, I'd subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications when we do go live. And that's where I'd go. And they're all the shows, all the past shows, all the daily curly hair question of the days are also on there. There's hundreds and hundreds of shows on there and interviews. I would check it out and subscribe, please. Also, tomorrow morning, every show come Tuesday morning at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the podcast goes live, and you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Podcast Addict, new on SoundCloud. I think we're 3 weeks into SoundCloud and anywhere else you consume podcasts. So if you want to consume me, if you want to consume us, you can find us in several places. And it's, every time I read these off every week, it's I can't tell you how humbling it is. It just really is just amazing how, for those of you who've been around a long time and remember when I started this show originally by myself, before I had a co-host, when I started this by myself, and I did them just by holding my phone, and then eventually got a tripod, and then moved out of my warehouse and into this office, and then out of this office and into my kitchen, and then converted and built this studio out, and it's just pretty it just makes me laugh. But it's really grown. So we have a couple of sponsors tonight. Tonight's show is sponsored by Raw Curls, the natural and organic brand of salon professional quality curly hair products, the number one choice of top curly hair stylists and salons across the United States and Canada, including tonight's special guest. You can find them at rawhairorganics.com. We are also sponsored tonight by CIC Beauty and their new 2019 Hair Industry Award-winning 3-in-1 Curly Hair Diffuser, professionally and personally endorsed by curl industry experts like Weedad Global Creative Director Chadwick Pendley. I'm reading this slow because if you're watching on live stream and if you're listening to the podcast, you're not seeing this, but we've got a really cool video of this diffuser, so I'm trying to read this slowly. Like I said, curl industry experts like WeedEd Global Creative Director Chadwick Pendley and Raw Curls Academy founder Melanie Nickels. You can find it at cicbeauty.com, and if you enter the word Melanie at checkout, you'll get a nice big discount. Also, if you are a professional licensed stylist, you can also go to the cicbeauty.com website, and you'll find a phone number there. Call them, tell them you're a professional stylist, and drop Melanie's name, and you'll also get a nice discount. So check it out, and all their other innovative new products at cicbeauty.com. Also, we are sponsored tonight by the Raw Curls Academy in beautiful Naples, Florida. If you are a licensed professional stylist, you can sign up for any of the upcoming Raw Curls Academy 2-day hands-on workshops like the one that just ended tonight, which is why I don't have a co-host tonight, because Melanie the last 2 days was teaching a Raw Curls Academy workshop, and we had stylists from the United States and Canada, and everybody's going home tonight with a bunch of new skills, which is cool. Those hands-on workshops are coming up. We've got one coming up on January 26th and 27th. That's a Sunday and Monday for licensed professional stylists. April 26th and 27th as well. And July 26th and 27th. We should have some other classes coming up, but I can't tell you about them yet. But we've got some other neat ones coming up, and gosh, I can't tell you. But in another week or two, I'll be able to announce a couple others that are really, really cool and innovative. And we've got some other ones coming up besides that, where we're going to be doing trainings on color and also on social and digital marketing in a 2020 curly hair world. So pretty cool. Anyway, if you're interested, you can contact us by sending us an email to ken@rawhairorganics.com. That's me. Or go to the website rawcurls.com/academy for details. I think you can even sign up there and pay for the thing and get your spot. Like I said, there should be another 2 or 3 classes coming up late in 2020. They fill up fast because we make them small. Those classes are very small. We don't take more than 6, 7, 8 now, and that's it. We try to keep them even smaller than that, so you get all of Melanie's attention, or as much as she can give you, and you're able to go back after 2 days and have some skills that you can actually use. So so they fill up fast. Sign up quick. I would do it ASAP. So anyway, so that's that. So tonight I've got another special guest coming on, and I'm going to introduce him, and we're also going to do Q&A. We're going to do live Q&A with him tonight, and I know some of you have met him. Some of you probably don't know who it is, but this is a guy that's a real curl industry pro here. This is Mr. Ron Suriano. I've actually known Ron for about, I was thinking about this, Ron. It's just amazing the older we get, because I know you're almost my age, the older you get, God, the years just fly. I was trying to think, I'm like, how long have I known Ron? Maybe 3, 4 years. I'm like, no, it's been like 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's been about 7.
It's been a long time. Yeah. So this is Ron Suriano. If you don't know who he is, Ron is he's the founder of Moisture Salon in beautiful Schenectady, New York. And I'm going to let Ron tell you about himself. But Ron is a true expert in this industry. And if you've watched the show, those of you who watch and listen to this show on a regular basis, we don't throw that term out very lightly. And I actually got that. We had a conversation. Ron, I'll tell you. You probably haven't heard this, but we've become friends with Sherry Harbinger from Harbinger. God, I always say it wrong. Anyway, and she clued me in on something one time very nicely, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you're right. And she said, don't refer to me as a curl expert. And I said, why? And she said, because I don't feel I am. And I don't know if anybody is. And I thought about that. And ever since then, Ron, I started referring to everybody as curl specialists.
Yes.
Not as an insult, but it just because she's right. She's like so much changes and there's so much to learn. And I'm literally, as she's telling me this, I'm staring at her and I'm like, at this point in your career with who you are and everything you've done, if you're not calling yourself an expert, I'm not calling anybody else an expert, So
I think that's exactly right though, because
yeah.
we're always trying to learn.
Yeah. So Ron, tell us a little. I'm going to guide you into this and tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'm gonna guide you in. So you are a curl specialist in Schenectady, and you are a Diva trained stylist as well as a number of other things, and we're going to talk about that in the questions because I've got 2.5 pages of questions here, and I got a really good mix of stuff, Ron, of people who don't know who you are, who also people who know who you are. I've got one that's from a longtime client of yours, and I've also got some questions from other curl industry specialists who know who you are, who know your work, and have some good questions. So why don't you tell us who you are? Tell us how you started. Tell us how you got into this, and then we'll just go from there.
Well, this is basically my third or fourth career choice. I started doing hair when I was 40. I wanted to do it when I was 16 years old, but my father wouldn't allow me to. So I went other avenues of careers and schooling. So
what did you do? What did you do?
I have a culinary degree. So that's what I went to right after high school. So being Italian, I love to cook. So the culinary was another thing that I could do. And I owned a bunch of restaurants in Georgia and didn't like that, and did jewelry design. I've worked in retail. I've done construction. So I've done all kinds of stuff, strung pearls. And then when I decided I wanted to do hair, it was the best decision I made, and never knew that it was going to turn into curls. I just assumed that I was going to do hair. I was going to move to New York City and be like this fabulous New York City stylist. And that sure changed, but it ended up being where I became familiar to the Diva salon while I was living down there. So I interviewed and I was hired as an apprentice.
So you came up from Georgia, and if I'm hearing you right, other than working in retail, everything that you've done is really artistic, right? The cooking's artistic, the jewelry's artistic, all of that's artistic. So you stay, even the construction and carpentry. I mean, that's artistic. Yes. It just is. Yeah. So it all kind of pushed into that. So you decided to do hair. Did you decide to do hair, or did you decide to do curls, or how did that come about? So you came to New York City, and what happened?
So well, when I decided to do hair, I came back home after moving back from Atlanta, and so when I came back, I knew there was something missing, and that's when I went to cosmetology school.
What did your dad say?
Cosmetology school.
What did your dad say?
At first he was okay. At first he was okay with it, and now he's super okay with it.
Right.
Things definitely changed after seeing what I've been doing here with the curl industry, what I've done in my professional life with creating relationships with other stylists, manufacturers, people in my community. It's definitely opened up a lot of different dreams that I've had that I never thought I'd be able to do, and curly hair has given me that.
Sure. So you came to New York City and and you ended up at the Diva salon, the old one, right? The original one?
Actually, I got hired at the old one, but I couldn't work downstairs. The old one. I needed natural light.
Right.
So I asked them, I said, can I go to Broome and Crosby? So that's where Lorraine was. And,
right. So you
went... I couldn't be a cellar dweller.
So you went there and you actually got to assist Lorraine Massey, the founder of
Yes,
Divashan.
yeah.
Tell us about that experience. Tell us what that was like. And
Oh, it was great. It was great working in that location, especially with the number of stylists that were there that were just so different. Everybody's style different. Everybody cut different. Lorraine being her assistant was definitely an amazing experience. I not only got to watch her all day long, but be able to learn and cleanse and do all of the sets with her or
that's
for her.
priceless, hey?
Yeah.
Priceless.
So that's where I love. That's where I really started to get into it. Was more and more with not even cutting. It was just styling the hair, understanding hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when you did decide to leave there, did you come to kind of a realization and think, I want to do this on my own, or did you want to go home?
Well, I wanted to go home. I
Yeah.
definitely wanted to go home because I felt like if I stayed in the city, I would be assisting for 3 to 4 to 5 years. And
Yeah.
at 40, I was like, oh no,
You don't have it to give, right?
no, I wasn't ready. So I knew that there was an opportunity up here, upstate, because I'm only about 2.5 hours north of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, in the capital region, Albany, Schenectady, I'm going to do this. I'm just going to go home and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I did any kind of hair. I did straight hair, curly hair, and I had not one client that
Wow.
that I had when I moved back home. So I was doing construction and I was doing hair.
Mm. Yeah. And how long did it take before you started to get known as someone who was really good at curls? That was a for me, just because I'm in the industry, obviously, as soon as I hear the name Moisture Salon, I'm like, okay, I know this is curly. You know what I mean? But not everybody would get it. Not everybody would get the
Right.
connection. So how long did it take before you started to actually get a name starting from nothing? Without bringing any clients, how long did it take?
I would have to say maybe about a year, if that, to be honest with you.
Boy,
It
that's not
wasn't bad.
bad.
I stayed at one salon for 3 months and I was doing everything and I just wasn't comfortable. And then the next salon I went to, I told them, I said, that's all I want to do is curly hair. Please, that's all I want to do. I want to make sure that you have the right equipment for me. And this is all I want to specialize in. And they allowed it. And the best thing about it is like everybody wanted to do Groupon. And I was like, I'm not doing Groupon.
Right. Right.
So I utilized everybody else's Groupons. They were massage therapists, eyelash
Uh-huh.
ladies. So they would come in with curly hair. I'm like, oh, are you my client? And they go, no, I'm here for a Groupon. I go, oh,
Well,
but just so you know, I do curly hair. And then that went into 3 months. And then I found another place to rent. And then within a year, I opened up Moisture Salon
yeah.
as a small 2-station, 600 square foot salon.
And I remember it. You want to laugh, Ron? Here's how long I've known Ron. 140 Clinton Street, Schenectady, New York.
That's it.
And I knew it off the top of my head.
And you know the craziest thing now? That's going to be the
Tell us.
location. That's my location of my new barber shop.
Oh, so tell us about this. Now, this is exciting, and Ron just started to talk about this, and like the day before he really announced it, he told me about this, and so tell us. So tell us how this new endeavor that you have, this new barbershop, tell us how this all ties in with what you've always wanted to do and what you're doing now. So tell us about it. Give us the
Sure.
spiel.
Well, it's really crazy because when I did graduate from cosmetology school, I remember somebody asked me what I wanted to do when I graduated or what my goals were. And I said, I want to open up a salon called Moisture Salon. Never knew it was going to be curls.
Uh-huh.
That's for sure. Then I wanted to open, and it was going to be a men's salon and then a women's salon with a bar in the middle.
Cool.
So that's what my concept was.
Cool.
So the men's salon didn't happen. The curls happened.
Yeah.
So as
Was
I'm
it
doing
just
the
a matter,
curls-
Ron? Was it just a matter of did it work out that way just because that space you had on Clinton Street just it came about and it was like the
Yes.
right space even though it wasn't the right space? Is that it?
Yes,
I had a feeling.
came about. It was really interesting because I've been thinking this past summer about what we do in teaching. So I teach a lot. You guys teach a lot. A lot of educational programs are out there for curly hair. But what I've stopped to realize and to say, hey, what's going on here? What's missing? And what I thought was missing was to start educating barbers on how to work with natural curly hair. Because that is where we as natural curly hair men have struggles. We can't wear our hair curly because they go to barbers that they texturize the hair, they thin the hair out. They use the products that aren't going to help them. And their hair is going to look like Kramer. So
they're pulling the clippers out, and that's it.
Not?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and I'm like, why not? So I started building a team. So within the past couple months, I started building a team of local barbers where I'm bringing them in to train at my salon so that they can go out there and instruct the natural curly men on how to wear the products to get their hair healthy with the right products, with the right methods. And then all of a sudden, my old landlord contacts me and he goes, hey, the person that was in there is moving out. Do you know anybody? I'm like, me? Me? I'm like, it's a no-brainer. So that's what I've been doing all day today, painting and, just getting it together. And it's not going to take me long.
Wow.
It's not going to take me long.
That's
great. I'll get that up in like 2 weeks.
We'll bring you back on the show for a segment when you have your grand opening, so we can see some pictures and whatever, and and take it from there. So how are you gonna market to them? How are you gonna? Well, let's go back. I got questions, Ron. How we have a curly hair salon like you do. We know you're as busy as we are. When are you gonna find a time to do this?
Well, that's why I'm hiring somebody.
That's tough. That's still tough. So is that your goal, is to find some barbers that not only want to be barbers, but also want to take the training from you and do curly hair, so you can do both at that location?
Yeah, the guy that's going to be my master barber, I've known Brent for probably about 7 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting him to join my team doing stuff, but he needed this journey on his own, and now we finally came back to it. And I have brought him into some of my education down in Binghamton, New York, and he gets it. And he's like, oh my gosh, I want to learn this. Beautiful. And then the other girl that I'm bringing in, she's a recent graduated from the EOC and was my apprentice internship for 5 weeks here.
Really?
So she came in for 5 Wednesdays and shadowed me and the salon, and now she graduated and she's doing barbering. And I said, hey, why don't you come and work for me? Let's do this, and you could segue into the women. She could segue into doing more braiding as well, to do some natural hairstyling.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that as well.
Very, very cool. That was when you had that space for the small square footage that was a really nice place. And I gotta give you, I'm gonna give Ron credit here. I wish I had pictures. I should have thought of this before, Rhett. I should have thought of this before. But I watched you build out this whole new salon with your apartment above it. And I was like, every day you post pics, I was like, God dang. I'm like, this thing is just gorgeous. It's really neat.
I can't wait the ideas that are going through my head right now for the barbershop. I'm over there. I'm like taping walls and putting these really cool designs on the wall. It's just going to be, just total me, but
I can't wait to see it. Because I love the way you just pick up stuff and say, oh, I picked this up today, and it's like on the wall, or I picked up this piece of furniture, but I'm like, and it's all like gorgeous. I'm like, oh,
thank you.
You are, man. And for a guy like me, see, I don't have that skill set at all. I mean, I can't draw. I can't, but it's funny because when I was in college, art classes were my favorite, like art appreciation, art history, and whatever. So I know what I like. You know what I mean? When I see it, I know what's good. I can't make it. I can't draw it. I can't do it. I can't decorate. So I really appreciate what you do. And even that, like I said, what's now going to be the barbershop, is I can't wait to see what you do, because it was cool back then. To me, it was.
Yeah, it's going to be so neat. And the best thing about it is that most barbershops don't have sinks. And what we're going to do is we're going to create an experience at the barbershop. It's going to be totally different than just, if you want to get like a quick fade or a quick, clipper cut, you can do that. But we're going to create packages where, you're going to be able to be treated. We're going to give complimentary whiskey and beer and just make it an experience, just like it is when you come to Moisture Salon. It's a different experience than what you would normally get at a salon.
Yeah, beautiful. I can't wait to see curly guys actually. Well, as well as I do. I mean, so many of them look just horrible when you see them in public. And it's hard to explain it to them, but you'll get them in there. You'll get them in there. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
I get them in here. I can maintain my long hair clients because they don't come in, my long hair guy clients.
Yeah.
Because they don't usually get their hair cut for 4 to 6 months. But the ones that keep their hair like mine, I can't get them in as often because I'm so booked out. So I'm thinking I'm losing these guys.
Yep.
How can I get them in there where somebody can just do that maintenance on the back and the sides, and then if they're going to learn how to do the tops, then they could do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to see us losing the men clientele, but I want to see them being able to go somewhere, and they're going to be able to go somewhere that they're going to be treated right with curly hair.
Yeah. What's the name of it, Ron? What's the name of that?
It's called the Clinton Street Groomery.
The Clinton Street Groomery. Great. Well, when you get finished, we'll bring you on again for a segment, and we'll show pictures and we'll talk about it, and we'll get that joint booked out for you.
There you go. So that's my story in 7 years, and I never thought that I was going to open up another salon this quick or a barbershop. It was just like boom, in my lap. I'm like, got my business license.
Yeah.
I got the approval from the city, my logo, and it's like all within like a few days. So
very cool.
Got to make it work.
You got to. I mean, there's so. I mean, that happen. I mean, you've known us long enough. You see the stuff that happens by us, and so much of it is just we're not planning. It's just the right situations show up, and it's like life's short. Yeah. Might work, might not, but let's just do it. Right. We'll do it. We'll figure it out as we go.
I hear you. So tell me. So let's see. Let's get to some question and answers.
All right. Let's get into some Q&A. That's
enough about me talking.
Enough about
me.
you. All right, Ron. We're gonna stick it to. Let's see. Let me go through here. There. Okay. A couple of these first questions you pretty much answered as we were doing the intro, but I'm gonna slice them up a little bit. So what drew you to curly hair to be the biggest part of your career?
Oh gosh, just seeing the need, just seeing how this industry has failed us as cosmetology students. In the industry, where I'm really hoping that just what I'm doing here locally is great, but I want to reach out to more of the schools and be able to train people in curly hair. I love the fact that what we're doing is changing their self-esteem, changing their lifestyle, making them love their hair, and just being able to see their hair in its natural state, what it should be. So that's where, when I focus in on curly hair, I was like, this is not just me coming and doing a job. No. It's me changing someone's life.
Yeah, it really is. And it
is.
It's really fun to see. I know obviously a lot of people that watch and listen, aren't from the industry, but more so than just doing regular hair services. It really does. There's so many people that we run into too that have just hated their hair and been ridiculed for it their whole lives, and all of a sudden that's over. In a couple hours, it's over. And
it is.
It's
that one time, whether it's a lifetime of somebody knowing what they need to do with their curls at the age of 6 or at 60.
Right.
It changes their life. They're like, where have you been my whole life? Yeah. I'm like, you got me now.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Next question I got. Ron, what type of curly hair do you like to work with best? And what do you feel you are the best at? Wavy, curly, coily, or in other words, what do you feel is your specialty in curly hair?
I love all kinds of curls. I do love working with the tighter curl, the coily curl, because I love to be able to show them how easy their hair is to work with being able to accept moisture, to get them in the sink and to be able to say, this is how quick your hair could do. The process is. So I love super curly. I love I love short curly haircuts too,
Yeah.
because it's a little bit more precise for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where the men's cutting technique is
Yeah.
going to come in handy with me. But I just feel like any curl that comes in, I never see the first start of it. I always see the result.
Right. Right.
So I love any kind of curl patterns.
But you lean to, if you had a choice, you lean towards, you like the coily.
I like the coily.
Like the
Yeah.
coily. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Ron. Here's a good one. Ron, how do I get rid of the dreaded halo frizz? By the
Okay.
way, I have not had a curly cut yet. Would that help?
Oh, totally. Well, there's so many different factors that are going to contribute to the halo. So I always have to assess the damage.
Hmm.
So, or assess the problem. So I always ask my client when they're sitting in the chair where I'm seeing the halo, because I don't like it being called frizz, because it's not frizz. It's broken hair. So we need to figure it out. Is broken hair new growth? Is the broken hair from you brushing and combing it? Is it broken from maybe you pulling it back too tight with a scrunchie that's ripping your hair out? Do you how do you comb your hair? Is it brushed or combed? Is it wet? How do you sleep at night? So these are all things that I have to figure out. And has your hair been texturized? And a lot of times, curly hair people get haircuts that are made to be worn straight. So a lot of people don't say, "Oh no, they don't cut my hair, they don't texturize it." But then when they blow it out, then I have to ask them, when they blow it out,
Right.
do they run like the scissor down through it?
Hmm.
And that's a form of texturizing. So I feel like the halo is going to be there, but we have to figure out what's happening with the hair.
Yeah.
And if it is, then we also have styling methods that are going to teach them to put those little hairs down. So it's going to be less scrunching and more prayer motion.
Hmm. Okay. This next question I got is interesting, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I read this and I thought I can't believe I thought of this, because this has been a number of years since this happened, but I thought Ron may have had to consider this question before. I forgot all about this. The question it said, I have been a client of Ron's for a few years. I would like to know what he would be doing for a living if it wasn't hair. And I'm going to throw out, before you answer that, Ron, this must have crossed your mind when you had that little snowblower accident a couple of years ago. Did you sit there and think, my God, what am I going to do? Because Ron had a little bit of an incident, and you got really lucky, bro. You got really lucky. Did it cross your mind? Yes. Did it cross your mind? What am I going to do now? So the question is, what would you have done?
Oh my gosh. What would I have done if I couldn't do hair anymore?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I probably would bounce back and forth from one career to something else, like I did
Yeah.
all the way until I was 40.
Oh.
So I don't know. I mean, I would probably still be in the beauty industry, maybe doing more teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I couldn't do hair, I think I would definitely go back into like the interior design.
Interior design.
Yeah,
You're
something
good at
with,
it. That's for
building.
sure. You are good at it.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Boy, you got some really good questions tonight. They're all over the place. Ron, what was it like working for Lorraine Massey? Give us the details with an exclamation point. What was it like?
Lorraine was amazing. I mean, she's such a talented woman. It was very interesting working for her. I felt like the devil wears Prada sometimes. Where, I would have to wait.
You're not the first person to tell me that.
No, seriously, I would have to wait by the front door for her because she would be running late.
Uh-huh.
And the clients would be sitting there, and I'm like, I would be getting yelled at by other stylists, like, why are you sitting up here? I'm like, I've got to meet Lorraine. Sometimes I would actually have to go outside and get her car and park it because she was running so late. So it was definitely like, okay, well, where are you going to go? We're going to some event. You got to go pick up a dress. I mean, we had a great relationship. It was it was ups and downs.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
for sure.
Well, that's any relationship.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
anything.
But just being there and learning from her and seeing what her life was like
Yeah.
and what it is now, it's definitely inspiring.
Yeah, it had to be neat because that time had to be like right on the cusp of them becoming really well known to being global, like a really no. They had to be like that. Had to be that time. God, that had to be stressful on them, on all of
Well,
them.
that was when they were just starting to introduce all of the different product line, like
Yeah,
all of the different products in their line. I mean,
yeah,
before they had Heaven and Hair, we had Heaven and Hair, Mr. Right, Set Up and Above, and then your typical, no poo, low, not even low
yeah.
poo. I think it was no poo, and I think they had the color line that they had.
So half a dozen or so.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. And that was great because
Right.
we used to have to always take all of the back bars off the stations because Schwarzkopf was downstairs. That was their corporate office, and they used to do training on the weekends at
Oh,
Diva. So as the assistants, every weekend we used to have to go in there and take all the products off the carts
right.
and store them away.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's cool. Ron, you had mentioned, and I'm before I get into a couple of these next questions, I'm gonna preface this, and then you can talk more about it as I ask. Ron, as he had mentioned, he also does education, and Ron has traveled to some other countries and educated. And if you follow him along on his Facebook, Moisture Salon, you'll see it's Moisture Salon where curls. What is it? Tell me your Facebook page. It's
Where curls begin. It's
where
just
curls
Moisture
begin.
Salon.
That's it. Yeah, Moisture
Yeah.
Salon. So this next question is obviously somebody who has followed you for a while. Ron, when you travel to other countries to teach or train, do you find they know more about curly hair than we do here in the States, or less than we do? And as a follow-up, what are they using for products in Cuba? That's a good, as I said, it's a really good mix of questions.
Yeah. When I go and I travel abroad, mostly it is a lot of Latin American countries, which tend to have more of the natural curly clientele and people that live there. So definitely in Brazil, they needed the education, and that's why my friend Allie's there, Alexandra, who owns Studios Dos Caixas, and she's doing a lot right there over there, and she's doing a lot of educational training. Same thing with Australia. They don't have any type of curriculum, so they don't even have to go to school. So you could just be like, hey, an average person saying, hey, I'm going to cut hair tomorrow, open up a salon and cut people's hair, not even with any type of education. So Amanda, Rickman, and Peter, they're in Australia, and they're killing it. They're doing class after class. And then when I go to Cuba, what we're teaching in Cuba is a nonprofit organization called the Art Corte Project. And it is the most amazing, humbling, uplifting organization that I could ever work with. And everything that I do, a lot of times when I go and I travel, I'm doing this free. We don't get paid for it. We go there and we teach the people of Cuba, and when we were in Brazil doing that, is just how to learn how to work with curly hair. And they don't have any good products. They don't have any products whatsoever.
Huh.
So
God,
I would
that's
love
got
to
to
be
make
able
it tough, eh?
What's that?
That's got to make it tough.
It does, because they're also using the silicones, the plastics. I mean, they're lucky to get toilet paper.
Yeah.
They're lucky to get olive oil or anything like that, even just to cook. So, that's where we have to go in there and teach different methods and techniques that are going to work for them, even though they're going to have the products that aren't really going to work.
Right,
so if we can teach them how to not, kill the hair, and if we can teach them to, use less heat on the hair, if we can teach them, different methods and techniques to help them with that. And then when we go, we bring big supplies of products so that they can train and learn on.
Yeah, I talked to Amanda down in Australia every couple of weeks. I talk back and forth with her, and she always says, "When are you guys coming? When are you coming?" And it's Yeah, it's products and curriculum and whatever, and it's we see the same thing, but you're way more on the front lines of that than we are. That's why I thought this was a really good question. So more education, more products is pretty much your feeling is, hey?
Yeah, and I definitely feel that we know more here in the United States, or in Canada and stuff like that, that we have the resources for it. But some of the other countries, I mean, I would love to go to Puerto Rico. That's my next place that I want to go, and I want to do some training in Puerto Rico and maybe Costa Rica, stuff like that, because I mean, it's definitely needed.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's I want to bounce around here just a little bit, because I'm looking for let's go to this next one. Ron, I want to know if there is any science behind this quote unquote flash drying thing that I'm hearing about from aloe vera or any other ingredient. I believe it's one of those internet fairy tales people tell, but I do believe when people say they are experiencing some kind of instant dryness / stiffness from a product. My bet is on that it's thickeners, but you ingredient experts probably know what is happening and why. Do you have any comments on that?
I don't have that much experience with them. I mean, the only thing that I know is that it could be certain ingredients that are in there. I don't know if it would be like an alcohol to make the hair dry faster. To me, I've never heard of anything like drying the hair that fast. The only thing that I always know is that, as you're diffusing your hair, you're letting your hair dry, that it creates a cast, but never something that accelerates the drying. I mean, I know there are a few products that I do work with that they say like a hairspray, but I've never heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard I've heard of this many times, but I don't know enough about it to comment on it. I mean, and I make products, and I really don't. I don't. I
don't know what there would be like. I mean, I know aloe is a humectant, so I know it's going to draw moisture in.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if it would dry the hair out.
Yeah.
Like dry it faster.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of times too, where, you get people that are trying to dry their hair so fast that they never get a cast in their hair. And then they complain that their hair is frizzy.
Yeah. I don't know. I should do a little research on it, but I don't really know enough about it to comment on it. Now I've got a question from somebody here, but I'm going to butcher it up because I'm going to throw it, because I have a question on part of this too, so I'm going to throw it in. Ron, you had told me many years ago that you wanted to be able to get a salon space in or a chair in Fort Lauderdale and come and cut curls in southeast Florida in the wintertime. Is that going to happen or not?
Oh, it may. Who knows? It may. I have a lot of contacts in the East.
I know you do. And it was funny because because I remember you telling me this years and years ago, and it's just funny that somebody, you got to be careful. I've learned this. Everything you say online nowadays, you got to be careful because everybody remembers. And I'm like, somebody else remembered that from. Oh, so anyway, people are waiting for you in Lauderdale, just so you know. Just throwing that out there.
It's crazy because I reached out to my friend that owns the salon there, and I was like, hey, when are you going to let me come and train your staff? And you know what his comment was? I don't care. They're booth renters. I don't care what they do as long as they give me money.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh.
Who knows? Maybe, when my fiance, he retires and, maybe we'll find something warm for the winter.
There you go.
And come down.
There you go. Okay. The oh boy. Now here's an interesting question. And this is from obviously someone who's a licensed stylist now. Ron, as an educator, do you believe that some people can be taught to cut curly hair and some cannot? I graduated beauty school 2 years ago, and we never worked on or even talked about curly hair. I'm wondering how hard it is going to be to learn it. I graduated from Paul Mitchell, the school. Can some people learn it and not? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Oh, totally. I think everybody should be able to learn it. I feel like, you guys, we need to be more vocal in our cosmetology state boards, universal through the United States, to be able to, what I want to do is write letters. So everywhere that I teach in cosmetology schools or schools, I want to be able to have the educators, the board, some of the students, I want them to write letters and state that we need this education in there. And it's definitely needed. So I think people can definitely learn it. I feel like even if it's just the do's and the don'ts that you learn in cosmetology school and about product ingredients, I think that should go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what products are doing in the hair, you're not going to know what the hair is doing anyway.
That's really interesting, because I see that. I know for a fact that that you've been going to cosmetology schools, and I've seen the pictures, I've seen your posts, and it's obvious that they're interested. You can tell just by the pictures. What's really, I think, a struggle is that what's been happening over about the last 2 years is so many of these states are now deregulating the licensing of the industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my God, okay, it's hard enough for us to even get that training, in. So now they're going to deregulate it. Okay. So now what? Now there's got to be, like you do and like we do, now there's got to be more places that are teaching these classes over and above getting their license. The other thing I think is a problem is so many of these schools, their products that they have in the schools they're sponsored.
Yes.
So if the brand, and they're major brands, that, if they're not making curly girl friendly products, they ain't getting them.
No, they're not. And that's where, who knows what may come about where these different, where you guys are at, coming out with these academies. We're going to have more schools that people are going to be able to go into after cosmetology school.
Right.
And that's where I think with my training, with my educational moving forward, is more of the students being taught and I have enough friends with you guys and other people that are teaching classes where I'm like, here, if you want advanced classes, go and learn from them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
just think the fundamentals definitely need to be taught. But again, you can go and be a lawyer and you don't have a great lawyer. There's not great lawyers everywhere. No. There's not great doctors everywhere. There's not great servers, but there's always going to be a profession where people are doing it just to do it. So, people are going to say they know how to do curly hair, but are they passionate about it?
I know.
Do they really, really want that? Is it in their gut? Yeah. That's different. But anybody could be taught something if they want to be taught.
Yeah, that I think that's this whole deregulating that's going on of our industry. It really pains me for a number of reasons. Melanie graduated. Basically, top of her class from one of the best schools in the country, at the Veda Institute, and she'll tell people openly that the best thing that she did for her career was when she graduated, she got to assist a U.S. national hairdressing champion and British national hairdressing champion for a year or two. Basically, got to clean up his hair for for a long time. Was that she took that time and got that extra training because she realized very quickly that, she got her cosmetology license, but really, you really don't know anything until you start taking classes after that. So if they deregulate the industry throughout the country and these people are getting licenses just by going and applying for a license, and so many of these young people, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Ron. We've never talked about this, but one of the things that really pains me, but I get blasted, and I guarantee when this goes live on the podcast, I'm going to get blasted for saying this, but I think one of the worst things that someone who really wants to make a career as a stylist long term, one of the worst things they can do is graduate beauty school and rent a booth.
Oh, yeah. They're not ready.
Oh, they're not ready. But I
They're
tell
not
you,
ready.
I get, every time I bring that up, I get blasted, and I'm like,
Oh,
if you want to
they're
do,
not ready. Well, the whole thing is you know what it is? The schools are not realistic to the students.
you think the schools are telling them that you'll get to rent a
The
booth and
schools
make
are
all this
saying, when you
money?
get out, you can make this much money. You can do this, you do that. And I'm like, I go there and I teach the class. I'm like, when you get out, you should assist.
Yeah.
And you should learn.
Yep.
And you should assist more.
Yep. I
And that's
tell
what
people
you should
that.
do. I mean, Brooke, the girl that works for me, she's been here for 3 years. She started right out of Paul Mitchell School. And when she went to Paul Mitchell School, you know who? She was the one that got all the curly clients. And you know what they would tell her to do?
What?
Flat iron the hair
Flat iron
and
it.
cut it like that.
They don't know nothing.
And that's what she was doing at school.
Yeah.
She came to me right out of cosmetology school. She hasn't done anything but here, and she's been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And she assisted me for 2 years every day, and she didn't even touch hair until I broke my fingers.
Right. I remember that.
She didn't even touch a wash. Nothing.
Yeah. 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 That's why I said it's it's just funny. I'll bet you're right that it's the schools, promising giving them these visions of grandeur right out of school, and they're like, you're not ready. You're not.
No.
Yeah, you're not. I tell people, in the groups all the time when the conversations come up, and I'll say, if it was me and I graduated from beauty school, what would I do? I'd go whatever town I'm living in. I'd go and I'd find the best stylist, the best one I could, and I would go up to them and I'd either beg them to hire me, and if they wouldn't hire me, I'd beg them, just let me assist, I'll do it for free.
Yeah.
Because you've been going to school for free anyway. You know what I mean? Get
Totally.
some real, get around the best person that you can find. But there's so many people that they don't want to do that, and they're selling themselves short because, for that instant, well, I'm getting $20 for a haircut. I'm getting $25 for a haircut. I'm making money, and like, ugh,
And
you're going
that's
to get
what
trapped in
cheapens
that.
our industry.
Yeah. You get trapped
And that's
in that.
where they're gonna say, okay, well, it doesn't matter if we want to deregulate your state because you don't have people passionate about it.
Right.
Or we're passionate about it. Where I'm like, I don't want to go to. If I was a consumer to go with somebody that just graduated from cosmetology school, I'd be like, I know they have to start somewhere, but they can't say that they're specialized in something. Or, I would love to see them assist under somebody.
I agree.
And then go through a training class.
I'm so glad to hear that, because I feel so often I'm on an island when I say that, because people they're just completely blown away that I would even think to say that. But
no, I mean we all learn from like little mistakes that we make and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't give out perfect haircuts, and sometimes I don't today.
Yeah.
I mean, I give the best that I give, but there's always room for growth.
always. Yep. Absolutely. So are you a firm
where you're going to sit back and be like, you know what? I could have done this a little different today.
Yeah. So
on her or him.
Are you a firm believer, even at this point in your career, of continuing education?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a degree.
I do. That's good
I definitely think that there's a lot out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, people have to pick and choose, what they want to do, where they want to see their growth, depending on the courses. If it's something that I already know, I'm not going to spend the money to take it just to get a certification.
Right.
You know what? So it's got to be something that I really need to say, okay, this is going to make a difference. Yeah. But all of this education leads you up to where you are able to know your worth.
Yeah. We're going to, like I said, I'm going to bring you back. When you get the barbershop open, I'm going to bring you back on for a segment. And when Melanie's here, because Melanie made some comments to me today after her class that are kind of related to this, and I really want you guys to talk about it. She made a comment to me, and I'm like, really, I would have never guessed this, but we got to bring you on. I think it'd be a really, really interesting discussion. Let's do a couple more questions. Rhett, how are we doing on time, Rhett? See, Ron? All right, let's just do a couple more here.
That's fine.
Okay, good. Well, we haven't lost Instagram yet, so that's got to be... Oh, so we're getting there. Okay. All right. Ron, are you as a stylist a believer in the big chop? In other words, do you believe that sometimes the only answer is cutting it all off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I believe in it.
How often do you do it?
Typically the big chop, I have to feel out the client.
Yeah, I
definitely have
suppose.
to
Can be
feel out the
traumatic
client.
for some people, hey?
What's that?
Can be traumatic for some people, huh?
Yes, yeah, totally. Where I see most people do the big chop is typically like maybe their second or third haircut with me.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do come in and it is something that needs to happen, I'm going to feel it out with them. I'm going to try to compromise with them. But the most thing is I'm going to try to convince them that the best thing to do is to cut all of it off,
Yeah.
especially if it's heat damage.
Sure.
You know, and that's the whole thing. If it's heat damage, we can't fix it. If it's chemical damage, there's ways around it. Dryness, that's just hydrating your hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you always hear people say that, oh, my hair is dead. You're going to have to take 10 inches off of it. And I'm like, no, I don't need 10 inches off of it. I just need to hydrate it.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, that's good. Let's get a couple more in here. A little more rapid fire on my end. Ron, help. My hair is a mess. I've been doing the curly girl method for a little over 2 years, and some days it's good, and other days I don't want to leave the house. Can you give me some tips to help me get more consistent results than I'm getting now?
okay. Well, the biggest tip that I can give you is we have curly hair, and it's never going to be that consistent.
So the consistency it's inconsistent.
Yes, but you can be true to your methods and techniques. So it's really hard to advise on you with that, which I always tell my client in the salon here or that reach out to me. Wetter the better is when we're doing it, but we got to make sure that our hair is ready for that. So if we're using product that have silicones and plastics in them, you know, we have to try to figure out how to get that out of the hair before we can use the products that aren't going to, that don't have that in there. So we have to prep the hair for that. So saying that you have a good days and bad days, it's a big spectrum. It could be, are you getting curl definition? Are you getting too much frizz? Do you even get a hair cast? So it could be, you know, do you touch your hair while it's drying? Do you diffuse your hair while it's drying? How much water do you take out? Do you plop your hair in a turban before you put your styling products in? So, and the curly girl method is so broad. You know, I always ask people, I'm like, what? I sometimes don't even understand what the curly girl method is.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't know what other people's interpretation of the curly girl method. I'm just like, is it the no poo? Is it, I don't understand it.Maybe somebody can answer that to me.
I don't know.
Because I don't get it. I just know that, you know, we try to cut the hair dry. You know, we in its natural state, we try to, you know, do certain things that are going to make the hair better. So I don't know.
I've asked Lorraine to come. I've offered. I'd give her an open invitation to come on whenever she wants. Because I'd really love to ask her. Tell us. You know,
and that's the whole thing. It's like I read these all the time with people, and they're like, "Oh, I've done the curly girl method for 5 years, and I'm still not getting it." I'm like, "But I don't know what method is curly girl. Like, what is it? Is it that they're not using sulfates?
Okay.
But
right.
then you look at the products and it says sodium lauryl sulfonate.
Yeah.
So you're still using sulfates.
Right.
You just don't know it.
Right. Right.
You know,
or a 99-cent bottle of conditioner. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And, you know, again, you're not cleaning your hair out from other stuff. So you're not getting the full effect of any type of healthy hair. So I don't understand the whole curly girl method. I just want to have healthy hair. And that's what I want to transfer over to everybody else in the salon.
Okay. Okay. Good. Then I've got two kind of bombshell questions that are going to right back to back that are going to come right off of that. The next question is, Ron, I've seen so many so-called experts in the Facebook groups say that there is only one kind of hair, and that's either straight or curly. That there aren't all these different types of waves and curls and whatever. Do you believe that as a curl specialist, that there's only one kind of hair?
Oh my God, no.
Okay. All right, next.
Holy God, no.
All right, we'll move on.
Yeah, that's
I've
easy.
seen this. I've absolutely seen this.
Oh my gosh, if that would be the case, then everybody would be walking out of here the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we have such different curls and straight hair. It's texture, it's coarseness, it's thin, it's thick, it's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And a lot of people don't even know the potential of what they have.
Right. Right. Okay, here's another kind of loaded question. Now, this one I'm just going to give you the last sentence of it because she gave me a lengthy diatribe, and she's right. I won't get into this or we'll be here all night. But she went into a lengthy diatribe about people being listed on sites like, say, naturallycurly.com and whatever as being curl experts, and then just get them getting hacked and whatever. But so she talked about this, and I just nodding my head as I'm reading it. But her last part is how long does it take to become a competent curly hair stylist at cutting and styling curly hair? So she basically wants to know, what do you think about, because she's running into people, and I see this too, that have been a stylist for 2 or 3 years, and they're advertising themselves online as, I'm a curl specialist, and then people are getting hack jobs.
Right.
You got an idea?
And you know that it's really hard because what I always tell people when they're looking at, especially on my website, if they can't come to me, at least I'm going to give them the information so that they can go and they can interview the stylist. Interview those stylists, ask them how many curl haircuts they do. How is their curl methods? Like, what is their cutting techniques?
Mm-hmm.
Do they know product knowledge? Just, kind of give them a test to see if they know what they're talking about. And then if they're going to do something to you in the chair that you don't feel comfortable enough, get out of the chair.
Yeah.
Say, I'm sorry, but, this isn't what I expected. And a lot of it is names, brands. So it's like someone saying, okay, I know how to do this brand of a cut. And then you know as a consumer, because they're not stupid, they're doing their research, they're doing their education, they're doing their due diligence because they're tired of getting their hair messed up.
Sure.
So what are they doing? They're going there thinking they're going to get this type of service.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go and they're like, wait a minute, this is like a normal haircut for me. So it's really hard when someone does say that they're an expert. What type of qualifications? What gives them that curl specialist? Have they taken training? Have they, how many years have they been doing this? What percentage of their clientele is curly?
So quantify that statement. If you're going to say you're a curl expert or curl specialist, quantify that somehow.
Yeah.
I think that's good advice. That's good advice. We got 2 more questions and that's it. Sorry we ran a little bit long, but it's a good interview and we got lots of people watching.
I like
so
to talk.
Let's do it. Right, good. Okay, here's the last loaded question, and then the other one's easier. Okay, Ron, and this is from somebody who watched our mutual friend Christy Zimmerman's interview here. Was it last week or the week before we had her on? Ron, do you believe that Diva Curl products are making people's hair fall out, or do you think it's something else that's going on? After listening to Christy Zimmerman on the show last week, I'd like to know if you have the same opinion as she does, or do you have any other thoughts?
Well, I didn't see her show last week because I was out of town.
Oh.
But I think when it comes to products and people's hair falling out, there's a lot of different
variables.
Yeah. So it could be medical, it could be stress, it could be food, it could be anything, but I do notice that the quality of their products have changed. I don't know if it's the ingredients, since they are so big brand. I did hear certain people would have hair falling out. I mean, I shedded a lot when I used their products. I couldn't use their no poo. So that's just, I think, all individual situations that something like that's going to happen with products. I even have that with other brands where people are like, I'm noticing my hair shedding more. So I always tell people, go to a dermatologist, see what is wrong. Maybe stop one thing and see if it changes. Yeah. But we're not going to know it if we don't try to figure out why. But I'm not going to blame any broad product for anybody's hair
Yeah.
falling out. It just could be age. It could be the
Hormones for
texture of your
sure. I
hair
mean, hormones all
changing.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And I've been trying to, really stay. I've been trying to have facilitate the discussion, but I've really been trying to stay quiet because, I mean, you know how it is. I manufacture products, so everybody
Yeah.
comes right at me and attacks me like,
Oh my God,
like
yeah.
I'm doing it on purpose. Like I'm like, no, I'm trying to facilitate the discussion. So when people ask me, I say, I really don't know, and I make products. I mean, my hands are. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
And
do
you could,
want to have the
and it can
discussion.
happen with anybody. I mean, it could
Could
be
happen. Could happen to
any. I
anybody.
mean, look at how many sensitivities people have.
Yeah, it could be anything. That's why I said. I mean,
Anything.
hormones such a big player. I mean, allergies to any one thing could. Yeah, I don't know. That's why they ask, so I ask you.
And our scalp, I mean, come on. It's like our scalp regenerates and the cells keep regenerating itself. So you're going to have that. You're going to have hair loss. You're going to have regrowth. Every time someone comes in my chair and they're always complaining about that, I run my hands softly over their scalp like this in the part area and I go, you have hair growth. I can feel little prickly hairs. So, kind of ease their mind a little bit with it. And then I always have to tell them, well, how much are you losing? How often are you even scrubbing your head?
Yeah, Ron. Next time you're down in Florida here, stop by the salon. We a couple of months ago, Melanie went through a bunch of training, and we bought this really expensive scalp microscope and stuff.
Oh, that's so
you got to
cool.
see this. You got to see your own scalp. It's pretty. I'm not going to tell you any more about it, otherwise I'll wreck the surprise. But if you're down here, just give us a call and head down.
Totally.
You gotta see what your scalp looks like. You're going to learn a lot, but yeah, pretty neat. All right, last question, and then we're going to wrap this up. We'll wrap this up. Ron, list in order what you think is the most important things when starting the curly girl method, whatever the hell that is, right? The products, the cut, the styling techniques, or all of the above. A woman in a Facebook group said I should clarify before I do anything at all. Can you give me some professional advice? So what do you think? What's the order of importance? What do you think?
Well, again, it's assessing what's happening with their hair, understanding their hair first. So your methods could be very important. They're going to change as well. So it all differs with people. People are going to come in for a cut. You don't know how and where they've had it cut before. How often do they get it cut? Has it really been thinned out really bad, or where they really created holes in here? So the cut is definitely it helps, and then the products, yeah. So I think all three of them, it just differs with each person's situation when they come in for the first time.
Yeah. So you got to see it first, and then you decide.
Yeah. So it could be, sometimes I'll have somebody come in and I'm like, and I really can't do much with the cut today. I think you're going to learn more in the styling, the styling aspects of it with the methods and the products that are going to work with your hair.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think all three of them are great. It's just, I don't think there's any importance that I could say is going to be set in concrete. It's all individualized.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ron, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it. If someone lives in the capital region of New York and they'd like to get a curly cut, where can they find you?
Yeah, totally. You can come to our website at moisturesalon.com. We have our Instagram page is Moisture Salon. Facebook is Moisture Salon. And we can book right online.
Great.
It's myself, and then I have another girl, Brooke, that is a stylist here, and we're open 4 days a week. And so that you can book any kind of stuff with us.
Okay, perfect. And we'll post links for that in where we're live streaming tonight. So if anyone wants to check you out, they can. And then we'll be talking about the Clinton Street Groomery in a couple of weeks here. That'll be cool.
We're going to carry your products too. We're going to be carrying some of your skincare and your acne for the boys. And
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, we're looking forward to that too. So,
yeah, totally.
All right. Well, great. Thanks a lot, Ron. I appreciate you coming on.
See you guys later.
We'll see you, and we'll get you on in a couple of weeks when you guys are ready. Take care.
Right.
Thanks
Perfect.
a lot.
Have a good night.
You too. Okay, well, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. That was a lot of fun. It's nice getting other curl specialists in the industry and being able to do Q&A with that. So I hope you guys like that. We will have the podcast version. If you missed some of it, you can listen to the podcast version tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And anywhere where you consume a podcast on or ask your smart speaker to play the most recent episode of the Curly Hair Q&A Show podcast. So anyway, all right, we'll see you guys next week for Curl Crap Giveaway show number 17. That'll be episode number 143 next week, Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you then. Have a great curl week, and hopefully Miss Melanie will be back too. See you then.